There's no feeling like being an owner operator, your own boss, when things are good. I mean, it's great.
Spoken like a man who knows his business and, yes, who loves it through and through. I'm Todd Dills, your host for this Overdrive Radio edition for Monday, March 10th, and you heard there was February Trucker of the Month, Kenny Wingate. Clearly, he knows of what he speaks when he invokes that feeling, nothing quite like it. Running your own game when times are good, and it's part of what drove him to take the leap back from company work he was doing to launch his Southpoint Exchange business with one truck and his own authority in 2019. He's back up to 2 trucks today, headquartered in Auburndale, Florida.
Auburndale, we're off the I-4 corridor between Orlando and Lakeland, maybe Orlando and Tampa, so you'd be maybe more familiar. About 35 miles from Disney.
And no Mickey Mouse stuff with his 2 sharp Pete's and stainless reefers, though. Wingate's been focused on business brass tacks, building a team around him for freight with regular brokers, many of whom he's known going back decades. Likewise on the accounting, bookkeeping, and general business management side of Southpoint Exchange. He's set up for further growth after a lifetime spent trucking, as you'll hear in today's edition. He's 55 years young today and relishes his history, though many of the men he learned from and some of those he came up with in trucking have passed on.
I grew up around this, greasing trucks when I was a kid, helping Daddy ride with him, and of course helping my grandpa a little bit. He was a farmer. After he quit driving the truck, he farmed for a living, our generation's starting to be few and far between. And the friends we knew back years trucking together and stuff, every once in a while. The other day I run across a gentleman that I probably hadn't seen in 25 years. And we trucked together. And man, it was just good to see. Man, me and him sat down at the docks. And I guess people thought we were crazy. We sat down on an old wooden bench at the back of our trailers while we were getting loaded. We was at the same place, getting loaded to go north. And we sat back there and just laughed, man, and just cut the fool. And it felt good. It felt good to see somebody that you trucked with years ago, when things were a little different, they're just far and few between. And we would say, we'd ask each other, well, what about so-and-so? Have you seen so-and-so? Or have you heard of old so-and-so? And everybody we mention has died and gone, or their health has declined so bad to where they can't drive a truck anymore. Their license has been pulled by the DOT, because they can't pass the physicals and stuff.
On the other side of a break, how February Trucker of the Month, Kenny Wingate and his Southpoint Exchange are getting it done. Dedicated freight on lanes between Florida and northern Ohio. After being nominated by one of his customers, he's in the running for our 2025 Trucker of the Year Award, which you can enter yourself or nominate another owner via overdriveonline.com/toptrucker. This year's program again sponsored by Bostrom Seating and Commercial Vehicle Group. That's overdriveonline.com/toptrucker. Now, here's a big thanks to Overdrive Radio's longtime sponsor, House. After this short message from House, Kenny Wingate drops back into his history trucking as the 3rd generation of his family in the business. Keep tuned.
Ultra-low sulfur diesel falls short, but Defender steps up providing advanced lubricity to prevent engine wear and tear. And that's not all. Our exclusive IDX4 detergent cleans out harmful deposits, keeping your engine firing on all cylinders. The result? More power, better performance, and a 5% increase in fuel economy or more. Protect your engine. Choose Howe's Diesel Defender today. Visit houseproducts.com for more information and where to buy.
Find more information at HOWES, houseproducts.com.
Well, I've been trucking for, all my life. 3rd generation, so grew up around it. Been in the household, forever. My grandfather was a logger and a farmer. My father was a over-the-road truck driver. Run back and forth out of Florida to California all the time. Didn't see much of him, but he was always on the road. And then, of course, I was the last one, and I always said, I'm not driving a truck. I'm not going to do it. You can't make me do it, And I just seen they was gone all the time, and there wasn't a lot of family life, and
Right.
I always said, no, I was a mechanic, and I run a shop when I was young over in Haines City, Florida. I always said, y'all go out there and run, you break them, bring them home, I'll fix them. Well, and then it got to the point, we're talking years back now. We're talking 36, 37 years ago.
Okay.
It got to the point where they'd come in and they'd be like, if you deliver my load, I'll give you $100, $150, deliver in town. I'm like, man, that's good money. Well, one thing led to another. Here I am today. Sad to say it, but I trucked for a couple, 2 or 3 years. Well, back then, of course, laws were not as firm and as strict as they are today. But shoot, back then I didn't even have a license. And then when I did get a license, it was a chauffeur's license. And I was still delivering loads and stuff. And then of course I went legit and got a license. And once again, I'm here today, still pounding the pavement. I owned other trucks as an owner operator, tried to stay local, home, to have some family life, and just could never make ends meet running local, and honestly, running local is hard on a man. It's very hard on a man. If you're going to try to make any income, you go home for a time, you drive home, you mow the grass, you eat dinner with the family, you go to bed, you might get 5 hours of sleep a night if you're lucky. So it's very hard to try to run local, and I just couldn't do it. So, I went back to driving for a company and over the road, and, I've got some very good friends that were very successful at it, and I decided to just go ahead and put all my eggs in one basket and go back over the road, with my own thing. And it's worked out well. It's worked out very good. Bought another truck. Now I'm looking into buying another truck and trailer as well.
What were you doing immediately before you started Southpoint Exchange?
I worked for Sherwin-Williams Paint Company, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
I worked with them delivering paint and picking up and delivering the raw materials to make the paint, to make latex. You'd go out for like a night, and be back home, and then you might run a local run the next day, and then you'd go out over the road the next, but everybody was home every weekend.
Tell me the circumstances that sort of spurred you to go buy a truck and start what you're doing today.
I guess once it's in your blood, it's in your blood. Trucking's like the mafia. Once you know so much, you can't get out of it, man. That's there's no feeling like being an owner operator, your own boss, when things are good. It's great. In the trucking industry, when things are good, man, they are awesome. They're awesome. But man, when they're bad, you might as well just get a sign and stand on a corner and ask for money. It's just in my blood, and it's hard for me to be corporate, I guess,
Sure.
The freedom you have on the road as being an owner operator, you still got things to meet and deadlines to meet and people to talk to, but it's the freedom. It's just a pure freedom of it.
Kenny Wingate can trace the roots of the now 2-truck Southpoint Exchange to year 2019.
In the previous, I had worked with a couple different brokers and very good people, and I called and talked to them when I was still working for Sherwin-Williams. And, I was just wanting to, get back out there again. And I called them, and they told me if I wanted to do it, get the equipment, they'd welcome me back with open arms. Never have to worry about a load, blah, blah, blah. So I did it. I dove off the deep end. The brokers I've known in the past for quite a while. Well, the one I deal with today is the one I called when I made a decision, and I've known him now for over 30 years. I knew I had him in my corner. I have a really, really good friend of mine. We've been friends for over 30 years. He's got a small trucking company. I know the loads are there. He's got plenty of loads out there. And I just had, my bases were covered. So I have regular customers now up in the Cleveland, Ohio area. I go to every week. I do LTL, and then I have a regular haul that comes back every week. So it's not like I got to get out there and run the load board every day and wondering if I'm going to get raped or not. The rates are the rates, and we go back, we revisit the rate situation once a year.
The old friend and colleague you heard him reference earlier is Steve Patterson of Florida Bolt Truck Brokers, but as regular Overdrive readers who read Wingate's story on overdriveonline.com a week or so back will also know, he works with the Patterson Company's trucking and brokerage operation, founded by Steve Patterson's father decades ago. Ruben Perez, the company's vice president on the trucking side of the operation, nominated Wingate to compete for Overdrive's 2025 Truck of the Year honor.
Ruben Perez is with Patterson Companies, and I can't say enough about that gentleman. Always been in my corner if I need him for anything. I don't care what it is. I can pick up that phone. It might take you a few minutes to get in touch with him because he is a busy man. But once he calls you back, I'm going to tell you something. Everything's resolved. Give that man 5 minutes on the phone, and I promise you, I don't care what your problem is, it's resolved. Central Florida Express, good friend of mine. I mean, he's the same way. If I have a problem, I'll pick up the phone. It's resolved. Patterson Companies is a broker and a trucking company.
Okay.
They have a brokerage office, and they have brokerage offices all over the United States. And they also have trucks. I think they're running, I don't know, they're probably running 60, 70 trucks, somewhere in that area, around 60 trucks. You know, during the COVID time, I think it hurt everybody. I know they was up probably around 100 trucks or so during that time. But during COVID, you know, when not many people were working, that kind of put a damper on things. But yeah, still working with all of them today. Florida Bolt, Patterson, Central Florida Express. I mean, without them three companies right there in my corner, I don't know where I'd be, because I don't know if I could run the load board all the time like a lot of these carriers are having to do. LTL out and dairy coming back. Yeah, it's usually about a 3 drop. You know, it's a 1 pick, 3 drops on the usual load on your average. And that's an every week thing, you know, and I deliver to Sam's Clubs and Costco stores. And we try to get the Central Florida area. I mean, that's our pick of choice. Sometimes we may have to go a little bit further south or whatever. We may stop. Every once in a while, I may have to start dropping in Jacksonville, Florida, and then come down to Central Florida. But yeah, we just Costco, Sam's Clubs. Every great once in a while, maybe an ice cream load to go to Cocoa Beach out of the same dairy. You know, here in the state of Florida, it's so seasonal. It is so seasonal here. So, and I'm just throwing stupid numbers together. You got 100 trucks, right? And you got 16 loads. Go figure. What do you think the rates are going to be? You know, everybody's fighting over something to get out of here. So what do you think the rates are going to be? You know, I mean, it's like, it's a no-brainer, man, you know. But I like I said, I mess with my handful of people that I have, and things work good. You know, I mean, we don't get gravy all the time. Sometimes we got to really work for it. Sometimes, you know, hey, man, you know, the pay might be down a little bit. But for the most part, it's a very, very consistent thing that we have. So thank goodness for that. Or I don't know, like I said earlier, I don't know if I could survive it. Because if you get out there and look on that load board, and I know a lot of guys do, and they do it every dang day. Sometimes they live and breathe that load board. Man, it's scary. I look at what the price is on that stuff, and it's like, I don't know how people can truck for 97 cents a mile. Okay, I don't get it. I see stuff in there for a little over $1 a mile. I still don't get it. I don't see how they can do it. I'm not going to say I never will. I don't want to have to truck for that. If I have to truck for that, I need to sit back and think about things and you know, try to change things up or step away. You know, everything we touch is so expensive. Everything. People don't care. Insurance. Oh my God, let's don't get on that subject. You know, insurance for a tractor trailer. Oh, that'll make you sit and bawl your eyes out.
A little more on the insurance front later with Wingate when we talked, looking at his annual renewal and shifting insurance agents with the prospects of savings on the horizon. Southpoint Exchange got its start with a couple of Peterbilts Wingate bought and put to work at first.
I shopped around a little bit, you know, and I'm like, well, let's see, you know, let's see what, you know, how the rates are. Let's see if we're going to make it with the fuel cost at the time, you know, and so I went out and I bought a little Peterbilt, started running it. Things was going pretty good, and I'm like, well, I'm going to get a little bit nicer truck. Then I went and bought me a nice 389 Peterbilt, run it for a while. And then the fuel mileage was just, it was like buying a gallon of fuel and just dumping it on the ground. You couldn't push it out of a tree and get fuel mileage, you know? And so I got rid of it, and I bought me a new 579 Peterbilt. The only one I could find that I actually liked was out in Fontana, California. and I flew out and picked it up. Brand new. Yeah, I happened to find it there. They were the only ones that had the exact specs I was looking for. Okay. And I'm a big Cummins guy, you know, so it had to be Cummins, you know. Anyway, so went out there and picked it up. Still have it today. You know, she's rocking over 500,000 miles on her now, and it's my personal truck. She makes a trip every week. She doesn't miss a beat, you know. And then I went and bought another one. Things were going good. I went and bought another 579 feet and put a driver in it. And of course, we run refrigerated. We're LTL company, multiple picks, multiple stops. And all I do is haul produce north and haul dairy products back to Florida.
Have you run a multiple truck business like this before, or is this the first time?
Yeah, the way we're doing things now, this is the first time. It is. Out of all the years of being around trucking, what I'm doing now, this is a pretty new adventure for me. You know, I mean, I've been around trucks. I know the ins and outs, but I just never stepped off as deep as I have. Now, and I wish I would have done it sooner, to be honest with you. With the fuel cost and everything, you know, and the rates, I mean, it's tough at times. It is. You got to watch where every penny goes. That's for sure. I had a mentor years ago. Bless his heart, he's passed now. So I thought very highly of this man. He was very successful in the trucking industry. And he always told me, if you'll take care of the pennies, the dollars will always take care of themselves. And I've learned to understand that now. Freddie Johnson. Yeah. You either loved him to death or you couldn't stand him, one of the two.
Was he in Florida there around you?
He was, yes. Yeah, he was. He was local here. And, but like I said, he's passed on now. Yeah, he was just a hell of a man. He was father-in-law to Steve Patterson. Steve Patterson, his father actually created Patterson companies years and years ago. Matter of fact, they started trucking back then. They started brokering Jack Patterson that started Patterson companies. I'm talking way long years and years ago. Yeah. When he started that company, him and John Giroux started together, and John Giroux is huge in the produce world as well. Him and John Giroux started together in the open air produce market down in Pompano Beach. And then as they grew, of course, they separated and they stayed in contact, of course. But then they grew, both of them grew very successful.
Sustaining that kind of success, Wingate knows from his mentor, small fleet owner Fred Johnson, is no easy task. His close relationship with those brokerage partners helps, for sure. Not only that, on the bookkeeping, accounting, and business management side, he's worked to build a reliable team.
I do have an accountant, local accountant here in town that takes care of things. I also have call her my permit lady, bless her heart. She's in her mid-80s. Been around trucking her whole life. Had 40 trucks at one time. And she takes care of everything I need. I mean, right down to, you know, I have enough on my plate to worry about. I don't need to worry about doing the quarterly fuel taxes and stuff and getting this and getting that. I'll let her take care of that, you know, and she does an awesome job. I never have to remind her of anything. She's reminding me sometimes, hey, I got to do this, just letting you know. I'm like, well, just do what you do. Just let me know what I owe you, you know, and which takes a lot off of me. I mean, I'm driving the trucks, you know, getting loads for the trucks, making sure the driver's okay, paying the driver, you know, trying to do maintenance. And, you know, when you come in off the road, I still drive every week as well. And when you come in off the road, I don't have time off. You know what I'm saying? But I chose this. So I'm not complaining about it, but I don't have time off. You know, when I come in, I got to take care of whatever the driver needs or whatever my truck or trailer needs, or, you know what I mean? Preventive maintenance, you know, that's a big thing anymore. Preventive maintenance.
Do you do a lot of that yourself, or are you using another shop too?
Well, I try to do as much as I can myself. Now, when we're on the road, it's hard to beat getting an oil change, you know, getting a service out on the road. I use Speed Code just about like everybody else would. You know, it's just convenient. You whip in there, you get it done, you come home, it's finished, you know, greasing the trucks and stuff. You know, if I need a wheel seal done or, you know, lights, you know, a water pump, stuff like any of that type of stuff, I'll do myself when he gets home, you know, providing we can get it home. It just costs so much at the shops anymore. You know, here lately, when you get something done at a reputable dealer, my God, the labor cost is more than the parts. And I'm not saying they're not worth it or anything like that, but it's just crazy the amount you have to pay a shop to turn a wrench for you. So yeah, we try to do the most I can, to just keep the costs down.
Are you working in a shop somewhere, in your home shop, or is it? Are we talking? I know it's Florida. You usually got pretty good weather.
I park my equipment over at Patterson Company, Reuben Press.
Okay.
I park my equipment over there at his terminal, and he has got a really nice shop over there. And anytime I need the shop, I just let him know, and then it's mine. They use the shop a little bit, and it's like I said, it's I don't know, you probably put 4 or 5 trucks in there, and but anytime I need the shop, I just let him know, and the doors are open.
When did you buy the second 579?
I bought the second one in October. I'm pretty sure it's about the middle of October, I believe it was.
Did you have somebody you knew already lined up to drive that truck?
I did. Okay. He's come and gone already.
Oh, yes, really?
He's a good guy. He was. I spoke with him when I was about to purchase the truck, and he was willing, he was able, and I'm thinking, okay, that's great. Didn't really know the guy very much, just knew of him. Everybody said he could drive a truck and he could get her down the road. Well, he did do that, but it just didn't work out. It really didn't work out. But I have this other gentleman with me now, and I think the world of this guy. I've already told him, I'm like, buddy, I'll tell you, you keep that same work ethic, I'll never let you go. You'll never leave. Mm-hmm. The only time you're going to leave is if I get put out of business or I die. That'll be when you leave. And he seems happy. Just an outstanding gentleman. Ex-military, just a good family man, and just altogether a really, really good person. You can give him his orders on what he's got to do, and he just gets it done. No grumbling, no crying about anything, just goes and gets it done and comes home. My accounting also in town, it's payroll service as well. Okay. She takes care of all that stuff for me.
Are you set up as an S corp yourself?
I am. But once again, my permanent lady, my accountant in town, just takes a lot off of me. I couldn't even fathom thinking about that. I mean, just I have so much on my plate already, Right. And then when the paperwork comes around, it's like, I do my billing every week. I do that myself. My wife helps me once in a while. She's got her own thing, and I try not to burden her with it. She's got her career, I've got mine, and I try to leave it at that. But she does help me quite a bit. She really does. Without her, sometimes I don't know what I'd be doing. She's into insurance. She gets to argue with attorneys there. At every single day, she argues with attorneys, and then I walk in the door and I get the blunt of it. But no, she works hard. She catastrophic, events, damages and stuff, commercial and stuff like that, buildings and things. And but yeah, she's been doing that, bless her heart, for I don't know, probably 28 years or so. Wow. And she gets to work from home. That's a good thing. I mean, she does get to work from home, so I know when them office doors are shut, that means do not even come in, do not want anything, and do not need anything. We've been together now for about 13 years. And if I forget, she tells me. I trust you. She'll let me know.
Do you own the trailers that you're pulling?
I do. My truck, it's a 2020 579 Cummins 18-speed, 3 1/4 rears, low pro 24s. It's got a big truck attitude, but it's a plastic truck. I pull a 2024 full stainless steel reefer unit with it, Thermo King unit. Really nice, clean trailer with all the light package and stuff. Utility, full stainless, front, back, sides, you name it. Stainless bumper, stainless landing gears. The wings on it. Right. And it's got a 7 light package. Nothing fancy, but it looks good going down the road. Looks good and clean. Got a Thermo King 600 unit on the front with a chrome package and a light package on it as well. Of course, they're giving them stainless trailers away. If anybody wants to go buy a few, they just give them away, The other truck is a 22 579. It's Cummins powered as well. Good, nice, clean truck. It's an ultra loft though. The 22 is an ultra loft. Trying to get some more fuel mileage, and
Sure.
anyway, I bought a new utility, so it's a 2025 utility reefer unit behind it. 7 light package, polished doors and all that's corners, blah blah blah. It's got a carrier unit on that one now. But yeah, decided to go with ultra loft because of fuel mileage. The way fuel is, it's rough. And here it is now. Here it is again. The fuel's going back up again.
What kind of fuel mileage are you getting with those two?
I'm right at 7 on my truck, and the black truck's just over. I believe it was just a little over 7. So the ultra loft is proven to get better fuel mileage, but not by much. But the point is, it is getting better fuel mileage than mine. I have a high roof. It's not an ultra loft. It's kind of just like your stand-up sleeper on mine. The truck that's getting the fuel mileage is the truck that has all the aerodynamics, the plastic over the tanks, no exhaust showing, no nothing. It just looks like a big plastic ball going down the road with wheels. You know what I mean? But yeah, we're 7. Just say a good average on 7. And I slowed the trucks down. I governed the trucks. I even governed my truck because sometimes I'll catch myself not paying attention. And I mean, it happens. But I've governed both the trucks. I got them at 72 on the foot. I got them at 70 on the cruise. I took them out of progressive mode. I put them in economy mode. We're trying everything we can to try to create a little bit better fuel mileage to bring more money to the table, to bring it to the house. Right down to tires. I'm running Michelin, Hankook's, Yokohamas. The maintenance on the tires, keep them aired up, keep them tight where they're supposed to be, so you got a free rolling truck, trying to do everything we can, with aerodynamic stuff, anything. I mean, wind deflectors, air deflectors,
Have you added a fair amount in terms of aerodynamic stuff that wasn't factory?
The only thing I added that you can't get factory, I mean, you can ask them to put it on afterward, but now on my personal truck, it's not, like I said, it's just a high roof, a stand-up. And I did add, some people call it a whale tail, some people call it a turbo wing, some people call it a bird box back in the day. I call it a whale tail, fiberglass. Had it painted to match, put on there. And I've always been against them things. I'm like, man, them things ain't going to work. I'm not wasting my money on them things. Y'all are crazy. Well, I had to try it. They're inexpensive. I mean, time you buy it, get it shipped to you, it's $500, and then you get it painted and you put it on. I got to say, I bumped about 7/10 miles to the gallon to the good, to the positive side by putting that thing on my truck. It blowed me away. I'm like, man, my figures are off. This ain't right. There ain't no way that's right, and I figured it, 2 or 3 times, and it's coming up a strong 7/10 miles to the gallon better. It goes on with epoxy and huck rivets, they sell them every dang day, man. I bought mine from Talladega fiberglass. I loved it. It was a beautiful piece. It looked great. Had it painted to match the truck, took it to the local paint shop. Matter of fact, had my wife help me install it. I didn't have nobody to help me that day, and she crawled out there. But and it works great. It works good. It made the truck even look a lot nicer, to be honest with you.
Also on the cost-saving front, fixed costs in this case, Kenny Wingate recently got an assist from Ruben Perez at Patterson Companies with a reference over to an insurance agent who specializes in trucking.
Your comp and collision is what hurts me the most because everything's, fairly new and the value of them, you know what I'm saying? But Ruben Perez introduced me to a gentleman in the insurance world. And man, I'll tell you what, it's time to renew my insurance right now as we're speaking. He's getting some more quotes together. And so far, just on what he has for my quotes right now, I'm going to save almost $1,500 a month right now. And he's thinking we're going to do a little better than that. And I told him, I'm like, man, if you do that, man, we are going out on the town, my friend. I am taking you out. But yeah, it's pricey. It's very pricey. But if this gentleman here can do what he said he can do, I mean, it's going to be great.
You're probably going to get a reduction just by virtue of time in the business at this point, and just him being able to shop it around.
Yeah, and then every year provided you keep your equipment. Of course, your comp and collision falls, so that makes it a little cheaper each year for you.
Yeah.
And honestly, with the third truck, I'm hoping I get maybe a little bit better rate by having multiple units, because then you got 6 units that you're insuring with 3 trucks, so all I can say is I got my fingers crossed. I'm hoping for the best.
Tell me about plans here for the year.
Honestly, the plans are pretty much to stay as they are. I talked to my broker, I talked to Central Florida and Florida Bolt, and both of them tell me that not a problem. Get the truck. We got the freight. We'll load it. Don't worry about it. My biggest fear right now is the truck driver. That's my biggest problem right now. That's where there's a lot of steering wheel holders out there. Okay. There is only a handful of truck drivers left in the world. And I'm hoping to find me another truck driver. I have one working with me now, and I'm hoping to find another one of those guys. I asked did he have a brother, but he doesn't. So,
Yeah,
but,
sure.
and the cool thing about it, he told me point blank, he didn't have nobody to refer neither. So that tells me right there, he don't want to be in the middle of anything,
Yeah.
So that's my biggest fear as a driver. But no, as for the future, both guys I contacted, I deal with every day. I speak to them every day, sometimes a couple times a day. We're not only co-workers, but we're friends as well. They told me buy the truck, they got the freight, not a problem. If he was told me, I was even told to buy 2 of them this year if I wanted them, they've got it. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I think I'm a 3-truck guy, and I just want to stop right there. I don't want any more than that.
Any enterprising professional truckers in and around Auburndale, Florida can get a little more of a glimpse into the growing operation of Kenny Wingate's Southpoint Exchange, and my story about the company is published right under the wire for Wingate's February Trucker of the Month honors on the very last day of the month, February 28th. Find that story at overdriveonline.com in the Trucker of the Year section of the website. Big thanks to Ruben Perez of Patterson Companies for nominating the owner, to Wingate for his time and the wisdom of his experience. You can nominate your own 1, 2, 3 truck business or that of another owner you admire via overdriveonline.com/toptrucker. We're accepting nominations through at least September for the 2025 program, but the earlier we get them, the better. That's certain. The award is sponsored by Commercial Vehicle Group and Bostrom Seating, with prizes to the ultimate 2025 Trucker of the Year, including a new Bostrom seat, as well as our custom scale model recreation of the winner's tractor as trophy. Speaking of which, stay tuned for a look at 2024 Trucker of the Year, Alan Kitzhaber's 4 million mile 1995 Kenworth T600 at scale quite soon, attendant to his trip to the Mid-America Trucking Show March 27th to 29th. Hats off again to Kitzhaber for the big win. Again, the nomination page you can find at overdriveonline.com/toptrucker. I'll post that link in the show notes wherever you're listening. Overdrive Radio is on Spotify and SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, Overdrive's Facebook page, and any listening platform, really. Leave us a review there if you're enjoying these, and a big thanks in advance for that. And thanks for hanging with us and listening through to the end. Overdrive Radio is a production of Overdrive, the voice of the American trucker. It's edited and produced by me, Todd Dills, with the acoustic guitar and other support of trucker-songwriter Long Haul Paul Marhofer. The theme is Legend of the Snake Man by Marhofer, featuring the guitar work of Travis, the Snake Man himself, Wemmick. Terry Two Socks Richardson on bass, keys by Tishomingo, Jim Whitehead, and on drums, Andrew Marshall. The podcast is backed up further by Overdrive's own social media coordinator, Jasmine Campbell, senior editor, Matt Cole, executive editor, Alex Lockey, and video editors, Lawson Rudisell and Andrew Gwynn. See you next time.